Hello there, I'm Steve Maclellan, the financial engineer and author of Grow, Control, and Keep Your Money. In this program that is the essential guide to help consultants and business owners make more money and pay less tax, we're going to treat this similar to how an engineer would solve a problem. It's divided into three parts. The first part is where we review the data. The second part is where we figure out what the problem actually is. And then the third part is we solve that problem with a design that includes 6 very powerful habits. Habit number 1 will show you how to take your money mindset and grow it into a wealth mindset, followed by habit 2, which will show you where you are actually starting, where you get to know what your starting point is and to calculate your financial potential to see where you're going. Habit number 3 will help you ensure that you always have enough money, especially when you need it. Habit 4 will help you follow the philosophy of the wealthy instead of following the philosophy of the middle class. Number 5 for habits will reduce your biggest expense. Do you know what your biggest expense is? And then we'll finish off with habit 6, helping you find an expert and a professional that you can trust. Learning and then following these 6 powerful habits will help you grow, control, and keep your hard-earned money instead of giving away to taxes, fees, losses, and the unknown. I hope you enjoy the program. Please leave a review on Amazon, as I read and appreciate every single review. And it's a great way to help get the secrets out there to those that want to do even better. Enjoy the program. Be healthy, be wealthy, be wise. Push through the noise. Introduction. Hello, my name is Steve Maclellan, and I'm a recovering engineer. Do you know many engineers? How would you describe one? When I ask this question to fellow engineers, I get a response similar to solver of world problems. Yes, that is an actual response from an actual engineer. The response I get from non-engineers is quite different. Most will start by saying, analytical, smart, intelligent, and then they usually end with know-it-all, socially awkward, and nerdy. Never, ever will you hear an engineer being described as funny or entertaining, unless you're describing the engineer's comical hero, Rowan Atkinson's, aka Mr. Bean. With that said, I am a recovering engineer. I did my best to keep this book and this course enjoyable and entertaining while staying on point. No noise, no fluff, unnecessary jargon, complicated processes, or big words. In fact, I can't even say big words. I have a minor speech impediment, which at my youth and beginning of my careers, I thought that was a weakness. I see it as a strength now. But while you're listening to me, you're going to say, what did that guy just say? Because I can't pronounce everything. All right. But this keeps things simple. When I communicate, I keep things simple because I can't say the big words. There's going to be misspellings when you're reading this book. My grammar won't be the best, but the advice in this book and online course is. Unfortunately, the advice that we're about to share is not commonly shared by the financial industry, and I'll explain why in section 2. My promise to you is that this will be full of useful information that you can actually use and that you will want to share with your family and your loved ones. Who is this for and who is this not for? The fact that you are here says a lot about you already. You're someone that's doing pretty good and wants to do even better. Does that describe you? From my experience, there are generally 4 types of people. The first are the unengaged, the ones that have their hands out and fingers pointing at everyone and anything for their current status. There's not going to be anybody watching or listening or reading in this quadrant, so we're not going to spend much time here. But full disclosure, I probably spent my first 5 to 10 years of my engineering career in this quadrant. The second quadrant is where the overmotivated underachiever realms. There may be a small number in this quadrant. Those that learn a lot about everything but do nothing. This should be a wake-up call for you. Or maybe you're just starting your journey, you're starting your business or starting as a consultant and trying to learn as much as you can. You want to get out of this phase as soon as possible. For those of you who have been here and already, you'd agree with me, you do not want to spend much time in this second quadrant at all. The third quadrant is where I spent most of my time trying to be successful while moving up the corporate ladder. I'm guessing most of you will be in this quadrant, getting it done by sheer force and hard work, the realm of the overwhelmed overachiever. You put max effort and max time, putting your head down, getting things done. Does that sound familiar to you? Do you feel like that? Do you already work hard, trying to get everything done from business owner to boss to super parent or even super grandparent, carrying the weight of your family, even your company on your shoulders? Hey, I feel you. The fourth quadrant is where we want to help you get to, where most want to be, the realm of the super achievers, aka healthy, wealthy, and wise millionaire for life. You can do this with a lot less effort and less stress than what you are doing right now. There are tools, resources, systems in place that will help you become less overwhelmed, less stressed, and more successful. A place where you can keep more of your income, where you have more freedom, and where you can create more impact. The goal of this book, the goal of this course, the goal I have with my clients is to help you reach and maintain that status of the healthy, wealthy, and wise millionaire for life. What will this book do? If nothing else, you will learn the secrets to take back control of your money, where you can create and keep your wealth. This book will help you avoid the risk of ruin, to prepare for the financial awakening. The COVID pandemic is over, but the world's financial markets are fighting an upward battle. Countries all over the world are even more over-leveraged than ever before. Companies are over-leveraged. People are over-leveraged. After years of collapses in several markets, only to be fixed with short-term Band-Aid fixes, the Keynesian economic cycle is ending. AI is about to revolutionize the world. A new economy is about to emerge. What worked in the past will not work in the future. This will be extremely stressful for most, but not for you. Grow, Control, and Keep Your Money will share the secrets on becoming and staying financially independent, even in today's and tomorrow's economy, to be that healthy, wealthy, and wise millionaire for life. When you have finished reading this book, completed the exercises and the course, all the dust is settled and the smoke is cleared, you will know how to take control of your money and make better educated decisions. These decisions will lead to better results, leading to the confidence and peace of mind that comes when you know you're on the right path towards financial independence. Knowing this, you will be able to focus on what is important to you and double down on your strengths. This will allow you to create more impact and make the world a better place. Pretty powerful stuff, right? Let's dive in. It's the moose on the table. That's how my friend Mark McDonald from Newfoundland describes the elephant in the room. We don't talk about it. We don't open up about it. It's a big moose, and sometimes it feels like a small table, meaning it's a big elephant and sometimes a small room. The moose on the table is often money, and I would even say success. We all want to make more money and we all want to be more successful, but we don't often talk about how to make this happen. And we may even criticize those that have found a way to make more money and to be more successful. When we don't talk about something, we tend not to understand it, and we often fear what we don't understand. As my financial planning business evolved, I couldn't ignore something that truly bothered me, Something that bothered me a little at first and then a lot. It was like that itch that turns into a big scab, an idea that refused to go away. And what troubled me even more was the fact that very few in the financial industry were addressing it. I've learned over time that great questions lead to great answers. And here's the question that bothered me and I couldn't ignore. If you are not aware of a problem, will you ever search for its solution? I hate to ruin movies for you, but guess what? Almost every movie follows the exact same plot line. There's a hero who encounters a problem. A guide then appears to assist the hero in resolving that problem and leading them to a happy, ever ending ending. This book, this course, and the additional resources accompanying it are your guides, your mentors, helping you achieve that happily ever ending in this grand movie we call life, guiding you towards being even more healthy, even more wealthy, even more wise. Now, remember the movie The Matrix? This is one of my favorite movies. Neo has a choice to take the red pill or the blue pill. The red pill symbolizes freedom, knowledge, and sometimes the hard reality of truth. The blue pill signifies ignorance, comfort, and false security. Now, you have that choice. If you want to take the blue pill, you should just skip this chapter for what follows is the unfiltered, no hold barred, hard hitting truth. Now, if you're ready to take the red pill, to become aware of the problem, then just as my old hockey coach, Danny McIsaac, used to yell, let's go. Current situation. The data is in. Considering that money and success often remain topics not spoken by most, you will be surprised by the current situation faced by the majority of Canadians and those in civilized countries throughout the world. Out of the original top Fortune 500 companies from 1955, only 65 are still around. That was the top 500 companies around the world. Only 65 still here. According to Matt Sims of Simplicity Designs, the survival rate of businesses with employees drops from 80% after the first year to only 30% after a decade. Unfortunately for the solo entrepreneur, the numbers are even more dismal. According to Darren Hardy, a staggering 66% of solo entrepreneurs see their businesses fail within the first year. And this is just not an issue facing business owners and businesses. In 1980, the year Pac-Man hit the scene and Mount St. Helens erupted, with Blondie and Michael Jackson ruling the charts, interest rates were at 14.24%. And back then, for every dollar earned, a whopping 80 cents was going towards debt repayment. Now, a lot has changed since then. Do you think we're becoming better at saving or are we becoming worse? Well, fast forward to today, the average debt to disposal income ratio stands at $1.71. This means we are spending way more than what we are making. And for every dollar, 34 cents alone gets swallowed up by interest. And unfortunately, according to the Canadian Payroll Association, the debt is increasing for 38% of Canadians. It's not going down, it's increasing for 38% of Canadians. 53% of Canadians are on the brink of insolvency, according to MNP. And these challenges aren't confined to the individual households, they are nationwide and even global problems. The actions of our governments, both domestically and internationally, are driving inflation to alarming rates. Our national debt has ballooned to a staggering, I can't even say this number, it's 1.57 trillion, I think, trillions of dollars, and showing no signs of shrinking. In 2021, your share of this debt would have been 57,500 if you were Canadian. As I speak today, in 2023, that burden has increased to $76,135 per Canadian, according to the Canadian Taxpayers Association. Based on recent government actions and behavior, Do you think taxes are going to increase or decrease in the near future? These challenges faced by Canadians and members of the G20 include a lot more than just debt problems. 34% of Canadians would struggle to raise $2,000 in a month for an emergency. This is crazy to me. Among those aged 55 to 64 without a work pension, 50% have saved less than $3,000. This is the business owners, folks. This is the consultants. This is us. For the middle income Canadian without an employer pension program, only 10% have accumulated, that's a big word, I guess, for me, accumulated enough to maintain their lifestyle in retirement. This group is now aged from 55 to 64, many facing the prospect of spending their senior years in poverty or the need to find work. Next time you're at Tim Hortons, check out who's working behind the counter. It's not just teenagers anymore. So, who's underwater? It's not necessarily who you would expect. It's the hard workers, it's the professionals, it's those that had those advanced degrees and making annual incomes exceeding 100,000. And what about those that have made it, the millionaires? Well, let's uncover some intriguing statistics about millionaires. There are 62.5 millionaires globally, with 2 million of them in Canada. 80% are self made. 3 out of 10 millionaires will declare bankruptcy at least once. This is a stark contrast to the 1 in 55 from the general public. And by the second generation, 70% of the wealthy families will lose their wealth. Generating wealth is one thing, keeping it is another challenge altogether. Benefits Canada says 91% of Canadians will never achieve or maintain financial independence. While most Canadians estimate they need around $756,000 for financial independence, a vast 90% lack a concrete plan to attain this goal or to safeguard what they've built. Why is this important to know? Why am I sharing this with you? It's not to scare you. Well, maybe it is a little bit. It's to give you a shake, to make you see what's actually going on. But it's actually also here to show you that you're not alone if you fall in these stats. If you find yourself out of these percentages, give yourselves a pat on the back. You belong to the esteemed 10%, heading in the right direction. But for the remaining 90%, financial independence will remain unlikely if you stay on the same path. Divorce rates are skyrocketing. Leisure time is shrinking. Fatigue and ailments are rampant. Antidepressant usage and obesity rates are surging. The burden of debt and financial woes plague 1 out of 3 individuals, impacting both mental and physical well being. This is affecting our productivity, the quality of work, our relationships. It's affecting our mental health. Another fact is our lifespans are extending a lot due to medical advances in healthcare. Consequently, I can't say consequently, so let's just skip that word. Our financial nest eggs must grow substantially to sustain our desired lifestyles through retirement and a longer life. So, what's the point? One may say that it has become on the verge of a pandemic. What the 90% of the population is doing is not working. We can all sense that the current financial system needs repair. We need to stop following the herd and doing what 90% are doing. We need to embrace and do what actually works. In the next section, we'll discuss what the problem actually is and why it exists. It's not necessarily what you think. Part 2, the problem. Drowning in a sea of misdirection. There be a shitstorm a brewing. Shh, Randy, you hear that? The shit winds are coming. Jim Leahy, Trailer Park Boys. Be prepared. Frankie McDonald, Cape Breton's favorite weather enthusiast. Hey, Frankie, sorry about the horrible impression. I love you, man. All right. In today's society, we are bombarded with politicians, media, and marketing trying to sell you a world full of rainbows, sunshine, and unicorns, or a world where disaster is just around the corner. The data is in. You know more about the financial situation than the majority do, including those that are in the financial industry. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, but luckily, it's a pretty easy fix. Unfortunately, this fix is not shared by many. This section will share why our current financial system is not working for consultants, coaches, business owners, and countless others. 100% of us have done something stupid with our money at one time or another. What distinguishes those that repeatedly make the mistakes from those that achieve financial independence is the latter's ability to learn from their mistakes and make the appropriate changes. So, why do we make these mistakes in the first place? Why do we continue to do so? Why is there such a large gap between the successful and the struggling? Many experts would say this is due to the lack of education. And they might have a valid point. Consider it. Where did you get your financial education from? Who were your financial role models and who were theirs? Unfortunately, what worked in the past no longer applies, and I'll explain why. But let's explore where most people do seek financial guidance. Following the herd. The majority of Canadians that are hardworking go to the banks, that the banks are their go-to source for financial advice. Where do you think banks make most of their profits from? Well, let me tell you, it's from debt, credit cards, lines of credit, and mortgages. Knowing what I know, I find it crazy that Canadians turn to an institution that wants their clients to be a consumer and go into debt for financial guidance. But what about the traditional advice like invest 10% of your income into mutual fund or stocks? Let's take a closer look. Considering that the average Canadian household earns $95,351 after paying 42% in taxes and 18 bite from consumer debt, so that's 18% going towards their debt, the recommended 10% investment leaves a mere 29% for day-to-day spending. What happens to the average family 35 that works for 30 years, assuming a 3% pay raise, investing 10% into a mutual fund that gets a 4% return? Well, let's take a look. Their earnings of $4.5 million would lead to a wealth potential of over $8 million if they were able to keep and invest every penny that they made. We all know that this is never the case. If they invested 10% as usually recommended by the professionals, this would lead to a savings of slightly over $800,000 in 3 decades, while over $7.2 million slips away. Let me show you exactly what I mean. So we're showing a chart here where if they kept every penny that they made, they would invested it and got a 4% return. They would have over $8 million. But if we take the taxes away, you can see this decreasing. Then we add consumer debt, and then we put the 10% where they're supposed to put away. You can see that they have saved over 800,000, where 7.2 is gone. What if we did this where we doubled the amount of investment return, where we increased it by 100% and they got 8% instead of the 4? The same family would have saved over 1.5 million while having a wealth potential over 16 million, meaning that the money that they spent or went away from them could have had the potential of earning 8% too. What this shows is we're going to spend way more than we'll ever invest, and the majority of our money flips away from us. The top 10% have found a way to keep their money and still buy the stuff that they want. Now, let me share with you a dirty little secret that the financial industry rarely talks about. Any investment involving stocks, bonds, or mutual funds will likely cost you more than you realize. The distinction between average and actual rate of return often leads to a misleading picture. The average rate of return showed on your account statement is usually higher than your actual rate of return due to taxes, fees, and inflation. Now, let me show you a quick example. Suppose you invested $100,000 into a mutual fund or a stock. It skyrockets to 100% in the first year, which will never happen with a mutual fund. But let's say it goes up to 100%, so it reaches a value of 200,000. Then the next year, it dips down to 50%, bringing you back to that balance of 100,000. Now, how much did you actually make? Well, the answer is $0. But what's your actual rate of return? Again, it's zero. The average rate of return is 25%, where your actual is zero. Factoring in taxes, fees, and inflation, it's actually negative. There's a huge difference between actual rates of return and average rate of returns. History doesn't always repeat itself, but it often rhymes. Darren Mitchell shows an excellent example. What would happen if you took your money and invested in the stock market in the 1970s, starting in 1970, in his book, Be the Bank? How long would your money last if you had $1 million and wanted to live off 10%, that 100,000 every year? Well, if you got the average rate of return, it would last you a long, long time. But if you got the actual rate of return as shown by Darren, your money would be gone in 13 years. Again, there's a huge difference between actual and average rate of returns, just like there's a huge difference between fact and fantasy. So, what do all these stats and numbers and mumbo jumbo actually mean? If you want to become financially independent, you have to stop taking average advice for average people. Financial planning for business owners differs significantly from those that are employees. An essential concept missing from the wealth equation is Parkinson's law, often referred to as the vicious cycle of money. The more you earn, the more you tend to spend, and you will spend way more than you're ever going to invest. The vicious cycle of money. When I went to university, I lived with 5 other swimmers. I was a soccer player, they were swimmers, in a place that we affectionately called the dump. Ever so often, we put together all our scrap food together and form a goulash because we didn't have enough money for groceries. I remember getting my first job, joining the workforce, and receiving my first paycheck and thinking I was rich. I started eating at pubs and fancy restaurants, and soon this became a habit or a regular occurrence. Hey, I could afford it and I deserved it. As my paychecks grew, so did my expenses. And then when we moved back to Nova Scotia, what hit my bank account was a lot lower, and the cost of living was higher, mainly due to taxes. I was used to a lifestyle that I could no longer afford and watched my bank accounts go lower as my stress levels went higher. Do you know that feeling? I used to think, oh, if I could only get 50% of my money back that I wasted for convenience at fast foods, restaurants, and pubs and the bars. While, while I was usually eating fast food or at a pub. It's not how much you make, but it's how much you get to keep while still enjoying life. I think you'd agree with me. Although university was fun, it's a lifestyle that we would never want to go back to. When you have financial stress, you have stress everywhere. You lack focus at work, relationships are strained, and your health suffers. If you do not have systems and strategies in place, it's near impossible to maintain the lifestyle you want, even when you're making the big bucks. Money will fall through the cracks. You will waste it on things that you don't actually want. Add up the upcoming volatility that's in the stock market and bond markets. No one's talking about the volatility in the bond markets, but trust me, it's a place that you do not want to be. The rapid inflation, high interest rates, and the reduction in government spending. Yes, there's going to be a reduction in government spending coming up. Talk about the perfect storm to increase that feeling of being overwhelmed and stressed. The healthy, wealthy, and wise cycle. Wealth is not about money. Wealth is about the confidence in your ability to generate money. Unless you just won the lottery or got a huge inheritance, the first step to create wealth is to create income. For most of us, our income is the money that's earned from a job or from what we make from our business. Income from a job as an employee is not as attractive as other types of income because it is taxed the most heavily. Once you start to create that income, the next step is to figure out how to increase this income. This should be done by going from good to great, focusing on your strengths and becoming better at your career. This will only bring pay raises and more opportunities. Notice I didn't say get another job or find a side hustle. Let me share with you another secret that you probably already know. You will never get wealthy by creating only one source of income, especially if that income never increases. Now that you're going from good to great, you need to start following the philosophy of the wealthy described in Habit 4. This is where you start creating multiple flows of income, paying yourself first, save what you earn, invest, and watch the money grow as you continue this cycle where your income increases and you have the ability to generate money whenever you want, even when you're sleeping or hanging out with friends and family. Your biggest expense in life. There's another law that few people pay attention to. That's the Willie Sutton law. When asked why he robs banks, he said, because that is where the money is at. Likewise, when you shift your money mindset to a wealth mindset, you'll realize that making money or that earning money is the easy part. The challenge becomes keeping it. And one of the biggest thieves trying to take your money is taxes. Taxes is going to be your biggest expense in life. Habit 5 is going to show you how to reduce your taxes so you can keep more of your hard earned money instead of giving it away to the government for them to waste. As you can see, our attention is often focused on the 10% that we're supposed to be saving, but we overlook the 90% we're losing. We all know it was the bottom of the iceberg that sunk the Titanic, and this is what is sinking most people's wealth. Now, let me show you a case study on this. I had a consultant. He was in the energy efficiency and healthcare system. He was making pretty big bucks, working hard, head down, but he was becoming stressed and overwhelmed. He was angry because 50% of his income was going towards taxes, fees, and costs. His accountant recommended him to invest into his RSPs, where our solution was quite different. We told him to set up a main and spending account. We set up an operating and holding company properly. And inside the holding company, we designed a properly structured dividend paying whole life policy. We had low fee, actively managed ETF investments that also grew inside his holding company. And we helped send up a home line of credit for his house, where he was able to pay that off faster and easier while paying less taxes too. And our results, we saved him about $15,000 a year in interest payments for that house alone. We reduced his taxes by 12%, giving him more than 11.5K more a year in his own pocket. The properly designed whole life policy compounds tax efficiently year after year, and he has the ability now to capture upcoming opportunities. We showed him by the time he gets to retire, if he follows the plan, he'll have an additional $3.2 million. And they booked their first vacation in 5 years. Powerful stuff. Love it. Okay. Lack of education is no longer the problem. This may have been the case 15 years ago, but it's no longer the case. We have all the information we'll ever need on how to be better leaders, better parents, and successful individuals. And if we don't know what to do, we can simply Google it or even now ask ChatGPT. The gap between the 10% who can retire on their own terms that are financially independent and the 90% who are not is no longer knowledge. It's about doing what you know. Knowledge is only potential power. Putting your knowledge into action is what is important. Knowing what to do and doing what you know. We all know we need to invest. We all know we need to focus on what's important. The big question then becomes, if we know what to do, why aren't we doing it? Why do we feel the way we do about money success? When it comes down to it, one of the biggest things missing from proper financial education is the simple fact that money is emotional. We tend to make mistakes and poor decisions when we are in an emotional state. And right now, things are very emotional. In this journey towards designing an even better future for you, your family, and your community, mastering our emotions is vital. Following the herd may not be emotionally challenging, but is also detrimental to your financial future. Thinking critically and making your own decisions is essential instead of mindlessly following others. Remember to stay true to yourself, your vision, your values, and your goals, even if it means going against the crowd. So, what's the point? Money is emotional. This fact is missing from most financial plans and is one of the major reasons that the majority of Canadians are struggling. Stop following the herd, protect yourself from yourself, and do what actually works. Put your knowledge into action. Why we feel the way we do about money and success. Why do we feel the way we do about money and success? Well, the reason really comes down to three things. Number one is how our brain works. There are two parts of the brain fighting against you and your attempts to design an even better future. Number two is our upbringing. Our early experiences with money often influence our financial mindset. And the third reason is our life experiences. Multitasking, distractions, and social comparison can often lead to unproductive habits and undermine our financial well-being. Let's examine each of these. Our brain. There's been more research and discoveries about the brain in the last 4 years than there has been in the previous 2000s. I'm a financial planner. I'm not a brain surgeon, so I'm going to keep this really simple. Your brain can be divided into three categories. The first is the instinctual, often referred to as the reptilian or dinosaur brain. I like to call it the elephant brain because it's so big. Number two is the emotional part of the brain, often referred to as the limbic or the monkey brain. And number three is the rational. This is the human part of the brain, often referred to as the thinking sage or the Yoda brain. The most significant part of the brain, often referred to as the reptilian brain, I like to call it the elephant brain because it's so big and powerful. What do you think the number one priority of the elephant brain is? It's not designed to make us happy or fulfilled. It's designed to make us survive. The elephant brain is always looking for something that's wrong, whatever can hurt us, so it can fight it, freeze from it, or take flight from it. This is one of the reasons why it's so easy to come home after a hard day's work, sit your butt down on the couch with your favorite beverage, high-calorie snacks, and watching TV or playing on the phone. It's safe. An undirected mind operates naturally in survival mode. Now, the monkey brain. This is the emotional side of our brain that's always looking for excitement and pleasure. It's looking for the fun stuff. This is where our feelings come from. Also, love and lust. The monkey brain loves distractions. Squirrel! Consumer marketing and social media know this, which leads to the majority to buy stuff that they don't actually want, wasting time hoping to get lots of likes and comments on their social media feeds, and often leads to lower self-esteem and addictions. Then there's the third portion of your brain, which I like to call the Yoda brain. This part of the brain makes us human, makes us think, and wants us to do great things. This is why we went to school to better ourselves, went into consulting in the first place, and excelled at our careers. The single biggest threat to your financial well-being is your own brain. And as you can see, two parts of your brain are fighting against you. 95% is being controlled by the elephant, while the Yoda and the monkey are battling for the remaining 5%. Unfortunately, in today's busy and instant gratification society, the monkey brain has declared victory over the Yoda for the majority out there. But not for you. Not anymore. How do you revive the Yoda brain? How can you help it overpower the dark side? How do you redirect it so all three parts of your brain are there to help you? To reduce the influence of the monkey and to control the elephant? The answer is simple. Form good habits. Make your habits easier, your good habits easier to do, and your bad habits just a little bit more difficult. Habits will become your philosophy of your success. Good habits are formed by having financial systems and procedures in place that help serve you well and protect yourself from yourself. They help the Yoda brain control the elephant and tame the monkey while making life more enjoyable for today and tomorrow. 6 great habits are discussed in great detail in Section 3, The Design. Part 3, The Design. I have 2 words for you. Not this time. Lou Billick, Hall of Fame soccer coach for the St. FX X-Men. Lou Billick was rallying his troops, the St. FX soccer team, a group of mainly local and hard-working soccer players who were the underdogs to the heavily recruited Dalhousie Tigers for the 1993 AUAA Finals. The memorable phrase, I have 2 words for you, not this time, whether a slip on the tongue or on purpose, lightened the mood, and the X-Men defeated their opponent with relative ease in 1993 and 94 to win both titles. And just like the X-Men found a way to win in the face of adversity, we will show you how to win and to win more often, to reach and maintain your financial independence no matter what life throws at you. It all begins and ends with mindset. Mindset leads to motivation, which leads to methods, and in turn, the correct methods will increase your motivation, ultimately improving our mindset. Imagine a soccer game, or any sport in that matter, without any rules or structure. It's a playing field with no lines and no time schedule. Chaos would reign. It would be a lot less fun, and it would become boring quickly instead of exciting. Similarly, in life, we need habits and structures to protect ourselves from our own tendencies. These habits serve as rules in this game we call life, making our journey more enjoyable and rewarding. Some would say they make life more fun. Breaking free from the status quo and escaping life's ruts may require a little initial effort and energy at first, but it leads to you forging your own path where life becomes easy. Now, following the herd is easy. Following your own path will eventually become easy. My challenge to you is to choose the better of the 2 easies. Form the good habits outlined in the following 6 steps. These habits will help you grow, control, and keep what you build instead of giving it away to taxes, fees, losses, and the unknown. The 6 habits described in the following pages will help you tame your elephant brain and calm your monkey brain. You will identify and focus on what truly matters to you, resulting in the confidence and peace of mind that comes with a life designed the way you want it. You will be able to double down on your strengths instead of trying to do everything, and your net worth will increase with relative ease. Others will complain about their business, the economy, negative news, government decisions, their poor portfolio performance, or the pressure of keeping up with the Joneses. But not you. Not this time.